And I sort of see strong interest from Gen Zers for the environment, for global warming, but I've never seen it as a source of anxiety. And to be honest, and I'm not going to get a lot of likes for that. I saw that it was kind of in fashion, but I never saw that there was a deep connection. And I think you're making a very strong link there, and I'm really thankful for lighting it up.
Oh yeah, no, there definitely is anxiety on behalf of youth about what's happening in the world and how powerless they feel because I mean, Mother Earth, we we have no control. We can do the little things that we can do, and still, especially, I work in a lot of like low socioeconomic communities, and so they tend to experience the harsh weather conditions more so than other communities. And so that also is just a big struggle. So
welcome to Sharing is Caring, the podcast where we dive deep into the topics that matter most to you. I'm Blue, your AI host, and today we have a truly enlightening episode lined up for you. In today's episode, Julie sheds light on the pressing issues of loneliness and isolation exacerbated by the global pandemic and how these affect not just adults, but children and families. She discusses innovative strategies that integrate nature and community to combat mental health challenges, offering insights that are both scientifically grounded and deeply personal. Whether you're a professional in the educational or behavioral health fields, or simply someone who cares about improving mental health in your community, this episode is packed with actionable advice and heartwarming stories that will inspire you to make a difference. Now, without further delay, let's join Jonathan and Julie for an unforgettable journey into the heart of what it means to truly care. Stay tuned. This is Sharing is Caring.
Hi, Julie. How are you?
I am well. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much for joining the show.
Good.
How about you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Okay. So my name is Julie Radlauer. I am a licensed mental health counselor and a doctor of public health. I live in the United States in Florida, and I'm the CEO of an organization called Collectively. We do a lot of work in the mental health space, and basically we do research. I do a lot of writing and public speaking. I do research around areas of mental health and mental wellness, and then bring that information and that research to everyday tangible practices so that people can impact their mental health. I do a lot of training and speaking with educators and behavioral health professionals, people working within systems so that they can work with and lean in and support children and their mental health.
Okay, so I understand your focus is really on children, or is it also adults?
Well, children have parents. So it's children and families and individuals. I mainly work with the professionals that work with children, families, individuals. So my audience tends to be adults.
Okay, nice. It feels like mental health has become a real issue in the last decade or so, being a primary concern of Gen Z, for example.
Yes.
How do you explain and how do you see that?
Well, it absolutely is a concern these days. I mean, 1 out of every 2 children are struggling with loneliness and isolation, and 1 out of every 4 people are struggling with mental health conditions. So it's definitely a challenge. It was something that was happening pre-COVID, but COVID really just kind of exacerbated loneliness, isolation, and social isolation. So I think it's great that this generation is aware of it and embracing it. I think that there's always been a stigma around mental health. And so having people talking about it so openly really kind of decreases that stigma and allows us to have conversations like this. So I'm grateful for it. I'm, of course, wish that more people were not struggling. And that's why I do what I do, is to share some of the science behind ways that we can address mental health.
Nice. Yeah, it's worth to remember that you're a doctor of public health. So
Yes.
You come in that topic from a very rational and scientific point of view.
I try to strike the balance between, you have these amazing researchers who do incredible research, and then it's in a journal and it's complicated and difficult to digest. And so I do my best to take that information and turn it into something that's useful and tangible in everyday practice so that we can all benefit from the science.
Nice. Okay. So I have a burning question since we are focusing on nature, farming, life. Would you see an impact from exposing the youth to nature? And is that part of your strategy when you call for reconnecting in a disconnected social world, in a disconnected world?
Absolutely. I think I love the work that you're doing. And I think that a lot of the youth are struggling with their mental health. And part of that really is the struggle and the stress around what's happening in our world in terms of global warming. And we can talk about, politics and how that's a struggle, or, COVID and that's a struggle, or just everyday stressors, depending on where you live. And also there's just this impending feeling of what's happening on our earth, what's happening, we're getting more fires and, more hurricanes, and it's warmer. And so I think that for children that are aware of what's happening around them, that is something that they're worried about, is like, what is the future going to be like? And so we talk a lot about how can you do something to protect the earth, and what can you do to support your own mental health through the earth, things like grounding techniques or participating in community gardening activities, so you build connections that way. There's so many positive mental health benefits to nature in terms of, improves your mood, and it reduces feelings of stress and anxiety. And these are all like based in science. It makes you feel more relaxed. It improves your physical health. There's studies that it actually decreases your heart rate just by being in nature. Being around nature helps you become more physically fit and more active. You connect with other people because you're happier, so you're communicating and talking with people. And there's so many ways that you can build nature into feeling lonely. For example, even if you spend time with your plants, that makes you feel connected because a plant is a living, breathing thing. And so when you're working with people who are really struggling with social anxiety, one of the things that we do is we start off with giving them a plant and just having them build a connection to nature that way. So, nature and mental health go hand in hand.
That's amazing. I think, it's such a deep explanation. And I sort of, I'm not from Gen Z. And I sort of see strong interest from Gen Zers for the environment, for global warming, but I've never seen it as a source of anxiety. And to be honest, and I'm not going to get a lot of likes for that. I saw that it was kind of in fashion, but I never saw that there was a deep connection. And I think you're making a very strong link there, and I'm really thankful for lighting it up.
Oh, yeah, no, there definitely is anxiety on behalf of youth about what's happening in the world, and how powerless they feel because, Mother Earth, we have no control. We can do the little things that we can do, and still, especially, I work in a lot of like low socioeconomic communities, and so they tend to experience the harsh weather conditions more so than other communities. And so that also is just a big struggle. So, there's a big connection between what's happening in our world and our nature and people's mental health.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much for pointing that out. As a public health professional, would you see what is your work like? You said you work with people who work with children. From a very high level point of view, what are the main challenges and the main goals that you're tackling?
That's a great question. Yeah, so I focus on what I call the social influences of mental health. And so these are the social aspects of our lives that can impact our level of happiness. So again, I take science and research, and I focus on social connectedness. I focus on teaching people how to build social support, on how to build social capital, on how to manage their social media, and how to focus on social inclusion. And so I take science and research from all of those different areas and train people that work with children and families and individuals and those struggling with their mental health. I give them the tools so that they can support people that they're working with to improve their mental health through the social aspects of their lives. And so that looks like lots of concrete activities. In fact, I have a book that's 100 different ways, 100 different activities that you could use to impact your mental health through the social aspects of your lives. And so, I do a lot of speaking about that and share the resources so that people who are working directly with people struggling have actual tangible tools that are based in science that will impact the mental health of the people they're working with.
Okay, that's amazing. I'm burning to ask you some maybe quick tips that anyone can implement in their life to feel more connected. But maybe we save it for the end.
Yeah, I'm absolutely fine. I mean, even just you and I having this conversation, being on camera, that makes a difference. It's more of a connection. It's one thing to be on the screen and just talking and doing whatever, but when you can see each other, that makes a connection. It's simple things that we don't even realize. I would say not the corners we cut, but, it's more convenient. We really have, in our world, we have sacrificed connection for convenience, and we've sacrificed connection for communication. I can quickly send a text as opposed to picking up the phone and call. It's more convenient. We're just communicating the information, but we miss the connection piece. And the connection piece is what impacts our mental health.
I definitely agree. I have to say that for me, it was fine to have no webcam, and you push for it. So thank you so much, Julie. Yeah, it's true. And he broke everything.
I know. It just makes the conversation easier. I don't know. Otherwise, I'm just talking to, a name.
Yeah, you're right. So yeah. Kudos, you're actually practicing what you preach, so
I try.
Yeah, I'm that for sure. Okay, so you work is also with organizations, systems, and communities. So what kind of work could you do with an organization, for example, to improve mental health aspects?
Absolutely. So the Surgeon General of the United States in 2023 put out an advisory around social isolation and how it's really becoming an epidemic. And it's it's not just a U.S., it's a global thing, because the World Health Organization also started a special council to address loneliness and isolation around the world. And so that, the majority of the time that we spend is in the workspace. And so, if we're not practicing those connectedness in the workspace, then it impacts our mental health. We spend, 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, many people in the workspace. And if you don't feel like you have connections in the workspace, then that's a lot of time to be someplace and not feel connected. So I work with organizations to help them create socially connected organizations. I work with communities to help them create socially connected communities. And so that too is, me. I usually come in and speak and share tools. I'll sit down with, the leadership of the organization and talk about what they feel their biggest challenges are, and then create a strategic plan about how they can intentionally build opportunities for connection and support in the workspace. And so that can look like, making people come on camera during meetings. That can look like, having a hybrid schedule. So you can be at home sometimes, but then you have to be mandatory meetings in person a certain number of hours per week or per month. It can be so much as, when you're in the office, creating intentional times for breaks and making people come off their computer, leave the cell phones in the office, and take times to connect. The old hanging around by the water cooler. I don't know if you're familiar with that expression, but it's like the time that when you're wandering around the office, you just take a minute and chat with somebody. That kind of connection is what builds, better mental health, is feeling like I have a support system I matter in the workspace because it's about, mattering in the workspace. If I don't show up for work, are people going to notice and care? Like is my voice being heard in the workspace? And so I work with organizations to create strategic plans so that they can ensure that they have the connected culture.
That's amazing. Kudos for your work. We are a food-focused platform, and of course, I'm thinking, how is food having a role in creating this social bond with people?
I love that question. That's such a great question because, we as society, and that's most societies, we break bread. Like when you're getting together with family, it's let's get together with family and we're going to have a meal.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is around culture. And so a lot of our connections are around food. In fact, some of the activities I do are sitting and talking about, like, tell me, what's the favorite meal you have? Who's there? Who prepares it? Who are the people that enjoy it with you? And we make connection through meals, through understanding about the culture of your meal and the food that you eat. And because food is universal. So everybody loves to talk about their favorite type of food and share it with somebody else. And that's a great way for connection. And so, creating socially connected organizations involves a lot of food.
Okay. That's nice. Cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, would you push it, to the extent that you would advocate cooking together maybe in some communities, or is it something in your tool set, like cooking?
Oh, absolutely. So there's this great book by researcher John Levy, and it's called You're Invited. And he basically brings people together. He curates the list of people that are coming together, but he brings them all together, and they have to prepare a meal together. But they don't know this before they come, and they don't know who else is going to be there. And so, like, they literally get there, show up, and he's like, okay, you're in the kitchen, you're in charge of making the salad. And, you're standing next to somebody, you don't even have time to really talk to them other than like, hi, my name is Julie, hi, my name is Jonathan, and that's it. Pass me the knife, pass me the this, and you're very quickly, diligently working together because you only have 1 hour to prepare this meal. And then at the end, you all sit down together and enjoy the meal that you've just prepared. And you'd have no idea who the other people were, but they're like famous people sometimes. It's like the CEO of a major organization, or it's a homeless person that was just on the street. And you're all working together to prepare this meal. And then he researched and found out that the people that prepared the meal together had this incredible bond. Just by virtue of having to work together in a stressful scenario and in a time-limited space, they actually really felt connected to each other. And so I think opportunities like that, where you throw people in a situation and have them prepare a meal together and cook together, that's a beautiful thing that builds connections for what he demonstrates for a long time.
It's amazing. I would say that in my opinion, it's hard to mess up. You will always come up with something, whatever it is. It's a great example that cooperation always works, and it's just a matter of being willing to try at least.
Right, to be vulnerable and recognize it might not be the best cook, but we're gonna eat it together anyway.
Yeah, for sure. We often put ourselves some barriers and put barriers between each other, but this simple thing always work, and you see that if there's no barrier in that, there must not be barriers in other topics. So I think it's a great example of successful collaboration between people, and
absolutely.
Just refer to barriers. Do you see what are the barriers to make those organizations, societies, communities cooperate more and be more socially supportive? What prevents them from doing it? It seems very simple, but in fact, as you said, we are disconnected, lonely, etc. So, and suffer mental health problems. What prevents people from making those actions, in your opinion?
I'm optimistic.
Yeah, you're doing a good job.
I'm I'm optimistic that we're turning the corner because the data shows, and so many people know somebody who's struggling, so people are willing to talk about it more. And so, though, at the end of the day, a business is in business to make money, and this is like fluffy. This is, people don't see the connection between people being happier in the workspace and having a successful business, even though there's a lot of science behind it. Sean Acor does a lot of work in this space around creating happiness so that people are more productive in the workspace.
Okay, it's not that I try. I will refer whatever reading you suggest in the show notes.
Oh yes, Sean. Yeah, he's great. He's a Harvard researcher, and so businesses need to recognize that if you have happier, healthier employees, they will be more productive. It's just a bit of a stretch when you're thinking like, oh, I don't have time to send people to meetings, or I don't have I don't want to allow people to step away from their desk to go and chit chat with somebody for a few minutes. Though those are the things that make people happier from a business perspective. You feel like, well, that's not my job to manage somebody else's happiness. Like, let them manage their happiness. Let me manage their business, the work that they do. And they really do go hand in hand. And so, more leaders are becoming aware of that, but it's a slow movement, I would say, in that space.
Okay.
So that's a big barrier.
Nice. It's nice. It's moving in a positive direction, thanks to work by people like you.
And you.
Just
bringing awareness, always bringing awareness. That's all we can do.
Thank you. Okay, so as I reminded many times in this show, we are a food-focused platform, and I'm keen to know, what do you like to eat? What are your favorite things to eat? Are you more a cooking person, a restaurant person, and what are your favorite delicacies?
I am definitely more a restaurant person.
So, since we are a food-focused platform, I've reminded that so many times in that episode, what are your favorite foods?
So I definitely prefer going to restaurants. My husband's a really good cook. And my favorite foods, fruits and vegetables, of course. I would say I really love sweet potatoes. I can have sweet potatoes in anything I eat. I also like Italian food. I like pasta with red sauce. Not big into meat. Mostly fruits and vegetables.
Okay. Sounds good.
How about you?
Chocolate.
Oh.
Yeah, I ask this question all the time, so I had to have a clear answer.
A good answer, right? That's a good one. Like milk chocolate, dark chocolate?
Dark chocolate.
Healthy.
Yeah, that's what, that's not the main driver. I feel it makes me feel happy. So it's kind of a mood enhancer.
Nice.
I think like that.
Yes.
That's the reason. But it changed. I used to be really big on coffee, and I changed. It changed gradually. So over the last 2 years, I would say it's chocolate.
So one of my sons is big into dark chocolate and coffee. So it's that bitter flavor you like.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. Nice. Okay, so we arrive at the end of this interview, and the question we ask all the guests is any advice to share. Since you're in a position to give advice, I'm sure you have a lot. So if you feel giving more than one, it's much welcome.
Thank you. Advice. Well, I think the first thing is to recognize that we actually do have the ability to impact our happiness. A lot of it is inside our heads and our mind shift, the way we see things. And also think about the things that make you happy. And when you're feeling a little bit down, do those things. So you mentioned, eating some dark chocolate. Well, if I'm having a bad day, just give myself permission to have a little spare of dark chocolate if that makes me feel better. Not things like drugs and alcohol. Don't do that. But if it's going for a walk, if it's looking at a picture of your children that make you smile, if it's eating a piece of dark chocolate, if it's having your favorite drink with, soda or coffee or whatever that is, just giving yourself that grace that when you are feeling a little bit down, and we all feel that way, you can do things, pick up the phone and call a friend, talk to somebody, go spend some time in nature and go for a walk, whatever that looks like, and that you can impact your mental health that way.
Thank you so much. That was Julie Radlauer. Thank you so much for your amazing insight and advice. You're the founder and CEO of Connectedness. You will find all information in the show notes.
Thank you so much, because I really believe that together we can change the narrative on mental health.
You're much welcome to join the show for another episode whenever you want. So,
thank you. I just like the way you said my name too. Say Radlauer.
Radlauer.
Sounded so nice when you said it.
Yeah, well, I don't know. How do you say it?
Said it beautifully. It was perfect. It was just, you said it with your accent. It sounded nice.
Okay. Well, anyway, thank you so much for joining the show.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
And you. Bye-bye.
And that brings us to the end of another insightful episode here at Sharing is Caring. Thank you for tuning in and joining Jonathan and our esteemed guest, Julie Radlauer, as they explored the vital connections between mental health, social environments, and the natural world today. We learned about the profound impact that nature and social connections have on our mental well-being. Julie highlighted the importance of integrating nature into our lives as a way to combat loneliness, enhance mood, and foster a sense of community. She shared how simple acts, like caring for a plant or participating in community gardening, can significantly improve our mental health and reduce anxiety. We hope you found this episode enlightening and that it inspires you to seek out and nurture connections both with nature and those around you. Remember, whether it's through a shared meal, a walk in the park, or simply reaching out to a friend, every step you take can make a difference in your mental health and that of others. If you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. Give us a like and leave a comment with your thoughts or share your own experiences. We love hearing from you, and your input helps us make our show even better. Join us next time on Sharing is Caring for more meaningful conversations that aim to enlighten, inspire, and connect. Until then, take care of yourself and each other. Goodbye for now.